What it is, what is up, what is good, gamers? This is Shonuff71, aka Digadulamite.
That purple bling bling. Never forget, y'all.
And your auditory canals are tuned into episode 282 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. Of course, I am not in the digital studio alone. Along with me, I got my partners in crime first on deck. We got Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover,
That's me.
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy. What's going on, man?
Hey, as always, not much. Just enjoying this breezy Sunday afternoon. I hope it's great where y'all are. Um,
Hey,
yeah,
breezy over here.
it's
Hell
not
no.
breezy. It's hot. It's not where you guys are.
It's hot.
It's burning
Yeah,
up.
it's just the first couple days of summer where
Mm.
you're not used to it. After 15, 20 days of 100 plus, then maybe it's
Mm.
something where it's like, no big deal. But yeah,
But y'all are like, no, why is it so hot?
yeah. Be grateful to stay in a movie theater or stay at home and walking the dog way early in the morning and even
Not
still
burning up, huh?
not burning up. Yep.
Cool. Totally understand.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, having a great afternoon. So yeah, happy to be here talking to all you fantastic folks.
All right. Of course, our show's a no-go without Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah. That's me.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Everything's been kind of ready, steady. Just you know, as far as gaming is concerned, just trying to decide what I'm doing next as far as the big major tentpole games I want to play. And then there's so many games in my backlog, and I just wind up playing the same old stuff, unfortunately. Which is good thing, bad thing. So, but still on the hunt for some deals at GameStop. I wound up going yesterday to the Fashion Fair Mall. Everyone loves that mall. So, but found a game called Potionomics there for like $15, and I was like all excited. And lo and behold, they said they still had the case on the shelf, but they actually sold the games. Like, how the hell do you sell a new game and still have the case on the shelf? So I had no clue. So.
That's silly.
I know this game came in like a box with some other goodies and stuff, so I guess they sold the box with the goodies without the game case.
It sounds like them.
Sounds like GameStop, yeah. So wound up picking up Monster Train for the Switch, which I gave, Mr. Desmond first dibs on, but I'm pretty sure you have that game digitally. So
I think so. What game was it again?
Monster Train,
Yeah, I think I have it digitally.
yeah.
It's been around
So
for a while, so
yeah, but other than that, yeah, I've just been kind of anticipating the Switch 2, so it comes out like this Thursday, so can't wait. Kev, are you still like lukewarm on that Switch 2 business?
I'm not
Nothing's
lukewarm. I'm ice cold. I'm
ice cold.
I ain't buying it. It's. I feel I feel sad because this will be the first generation where I skip Nintendo. I've always had a Nintendo console of some sort. With every generation that they've been in existence, have been available in the United States. So it's just the things that they're doing, I just can't rock with it at this point. So if things change or they do something, I mean, I'm still keeping my original Switch. I don't really have a reason to get rid of it, and I have a backlog of games that I have not played yet. I just can't play the games I really want to play because it's like flip book with the frame rate. But
Well,
I don't
maybe
know.
once I pick up my Switch 2, I'll give some of those games a go, see if they play better on the Switch 2. So
Yeah, but I still can't see myself paying $500 just to play Bayonetta 2 a little bit better. Well, maybe I don't know. It's I don't know. Nintendo Nintendo has found themselves in a very weird spot in on my desirability meter. I'm
Mm.
at I don't even know how to define it myself exactly. I just know that I'm not happy with the things that they're doing. Uh, if the games that I want to play, which is weird because technically I would really be buying a new console to play old ass games on it, which is something I don't do. I'll have to reevaluate the situation. But $70 for Donkey Kong, $80 for Mario Kart. I at this point I'm not ready, but I hope y'all enjoy it. I'm not going to sit here and say the games don't look fun. They do, but I just don't think they're worth $80.
Understood.
Yep. But did you have anything else that you're rocking in there with for your intro there, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's just been it. I mean, I'm still just kind of trying to get things settled here at the house at the casa. So, maybe in the next couple weeks I'll be talking about gaming more on PC, gaming more on Switch and Switch 2. Just kind of digging into what I'm going to be doing for summer on there. I know we haven't talked about doing any sort of summer like backlog blowout like we did last year, but that might be something that can inspire me to, maybe figure out what I'm playing and kind of moving from there. So me and Des have been looking for like our next like multiplayer game to play too. So
Yeah, it's been pretty tough. So if you out there have any thoughts, let us know.
yeah. One game I do want to get up to a certain point so me and Des can play multiplayer is a game that's on Switch that I'm kind of waiting until Switch 2 comes out to play. So, but Des will mention that in his playlist. So,
So we'll talk
All
about it.
right. Well,
So stay
speaking of
tuned.
playlists, that is our first topic on our docket as always. So we're going to kick things off with that. So, all right, Des, why don't you kick things off with your playlist? What you been up to?
Sure. So, what have I been playing? Let's see. I have been playing a lot, actually. I have been trying out different games, going back to the back catalog and seeing, hey, this game looks fun, or hey, I haven't played this game. Let's see what this game's about. And so yeah, and there's a couple of new games well, just one really that I wanted to check out. So one of the new games that I started playing was Palia. Palia. It's a free to play, cozy game in which you are a human who gets teleported to the land of Palia, and they haven't seen you. They're like blue elves and stuff, and they haven't seen you in a long time. And it's you're kind of like trying to think. It is a cozy farm builder hunting community type game. So, but it's not like Pal World where you go and capture and enslave people. It's nothing like that, and it's enslave your animals. It's more akin to a 3D sort of, you're building, like you're chopping down trees and you're building different stuff, and you're putting that into your house and your plot of land, and then you go out and do other stuff. And I'm just right in the early beginnings of the game. It just came out. It is free to play. And you just kind of, I don't know, you just kind of, there's no real challenge to it, and because it's free, I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. The art style is very cutesy. Everything's round and very, it's almost like you're dealing with, well, you're in a fantasy land, of course, and like you start off and you're immediately sitting there doing you're sitting there doing you know cleaning out your area in order to uh make your it's a survival game, but it's a light survival game. So you have a workbench, you build like chairs and stuff, you collect resources, and and you just kind of go around and do stuff. So it's one of those type of games. It's very, it's very easy. It's not super hard. I haven't gotten to the combat yet. Again, I don't know how long I'm going to be playing the game, and that's just because I don't know if I'm really going to get into it. But at this point, I'm like, why not? Again, it's free. I figured let's let's just try it out. Um, but yeah,
So
it's not bad so far. Maybe Joe will download it. We can run around together and do silly stuff. But it's not. It definitely does not ask a lot. It's one of those. Again, it's one of those. Cozy survival games. So
that's kind of
you
cool. It's gotten some good reviews, and I'm
yeah.
not sure because I know I don't really play a lot of games of this type. I was really
Neither do
interested
I.
in checking out the new Fantasy Life that just came out from Level
Yes,
5.
I will
So
be getting that. I have to. Yeah, Fantasy Life, the girl who stole I or something like Fantasy Life I, the girl who stole time. So, yes, I have to pick that up as well. I'll be getting a physical copy from Play Asia, because I want to, support it as a physical. This is one of Level Five's games, and sometimes Level Five can be kind of hit or miss. Their company practices are a little crazy, but they're out there still trying to make something work, and I'm here for it. So, but I haven't got it yet. So when I do, you'll definitely hear a some conversation about that. Um, Another survival game that I started playing, which is in that same veil as Palia, is V Rising. Yes, I am a vampire. I bought that game because it was on sale, and the base game was like regular price. But if you bought the base game with the Castlevania expansion, it was cheaper. It was like 40 or 20% off or something like that. So I was like, all right, let's try it. It's got pretty good reviews as well. It's a lot more combat oriented. You start as a vampire and you have to build your castle, and you have to go out and you get spells, and it's all based on your equipment level. And as you do certain things and unlock things, you get special powers and all this other stuff. And they have this mechanic. It's a blood mechanic, and when you're attacking people, you can either kill them outright or you can feed on them. And when you feed on them, you get different attributes depending on how pure their blood is. And by pure, I mean how percentage of it. Like, because if you're fighting a rogue and you feed on a rogue, its blood could be like, you know, 1% pure, I guess. And if the harder you people you fight, the stronger the blood is that you consume. And then you have these certain bosses that are world bosses that you can go and you can fight. And when you fight them, and you drink their blood, you get these bonuses. And so depending on your level, and it's all based on your gear level. And the way you get more gear is, of course, you go through and you scavenge and you build stuff. Like I'm in the process of building up my castle, and you have these four different weapons that you can switch out, and your weapons are your gathering tools. So you have dual axes, you have a mace, a big ass mace, and you have a spear, and you have a sword, and all of them can be used to gather materials like chop trees and whatnot. Just some are better than others, but so far so good. I'm enjoying it, and the combat is pretty rough. By rough I mean you can get overwhelmed, and they hit pretty the creatures hit pretty hard. And there is a day and night mechanic, and during the daytime, if you're out in the sun, the screen kind of flashes bright, and you start to take damage, and so you have to be in the shadows when you are when you're when you're out and about during the daytime. But when you're in your home, you're safe. So, and you build up your castle and all this other stuff. So at this point, it's pretty fun. It's much more in engaging than Palia, but it's still, or Palia or whatever you call it. But it's still a survivor type game. It's still a resource gathering type game, and it's multiplayer as well. You can build another vampire clan and run around and kill people and all this other stuff. So it's been around for a while on Steam. It's got pretty decent reviews, and so far it's been pretty fun. It's been pretty fun. It's a lot more. What I'm finding is a lot more of these survival games are a lot more streamlined because I think people just don't have the time to do a lot of the stuff that they would want you to do, or maybe it's because they're for streamers, and so streamers can play these games while they're streaming, and they can interact with people. So this is definitely like streamer games, but it's not bad, and I think it's something that Joe you might like. It's given Valheim, but it just looks a lot better. Like than that. The art style is really good. It's really fun. So who knows? You might like it. Um, a couple other games that I've been playing. I started playing Weird West. It is an occult Western game. You play this woman who was a bounty hunter who gave up her life, but then her past came back calling, and so now you're on a revenge kick, and it's fun because it's a RPG with a twin stick shooting. So you have a six shooter and you have all these different weapons, but it's a top down, not top down. It's like a 3/4 inch view twin stick shooter, which is interesting. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Old West uh type of movies. Like I love the Sergio Leone stuff. And when you add like a cult sort of Cthulhu-esque stuff to westerns, I don't know, something like that just really it really feels kind of cool to me. And having that kind of macabre in with the West is fun. There was this writer Colin Bunn who wrote this story called The Sixth Gun, and it was sort of like an occult western type of thing. And so the artwork is pretty good. It's almost comic booky a little bit, and the game is not super hard, but there's a lot of mechanics going on. Like you can there's a so you can't so there's a lot of dead people, and you can bury them, and if you bury them, it stops things from I don't know what's happening with them, but I was trying to bury a bunch of people, but then I might have accidentally stole something from them, and the police got mad, and or the sheriff got mad and put me into jail. So like your reputation, so there's a reputation meter. If you have a good reputation, people are more nicer to you. So there's that. So there is like a consequences kind of thing going on with it too. But it's pretty fun. I'm only in the early stages of the game, but it's been pretty fun. I don't know if it's two player or not. I don't think so. But they just released the people who did I think Weird West just released another game, and that's kind of what put it back on my radar. And it's in the same genre of the occult western type of thing. And so yeah, I'm really enjoying that game so far. It was on sale recently. It might be on sale now. It's one of those games that just kind of flies under the radar, but it's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. You should check it out, especially if you like twin stick shooters. I thought it was turn based, but it is not. It is a full on twin stick shooter.
Yeah, if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, it was an essential game 1 month, and so
Oh,
that's how I
the,
have it in my backlog.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. If it's a multiplayer game, we should play it, Joe. I think you'd really like it. Um, Also, another game that I tried. So I don't know why I continue to try these games. All three of them have not been that good, and that is Watch Dogs. So I played I downloaded it, and I played Watch Dog Legion. And at the beginning, I was really kind of getting into this. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and like it's in London, and London's kind of cool, and it's the future. It's like the near future, and so gadgets are everywhere and everything, and you start off as this sort of like James Bond type of guy, but then he gets killed, and the group DeadSec is the people who are blamed, and so like a martial law takes over, and so you have to fight against the martial law. But the problem, or at least the problem for me with playing the game, is you have a bunch of agents that you assume the role of, and each of them have something different going on. So So the problem that I'm having with that is you never really get attached to any one of them because you pick three and then the story kind of goes on and then you do something from, the perspective of these three people. And I like the hacking. I thought that was fun, and I like the espionage and hacking and computer type stuff. That stuff is really fun in that game, and like hacking and remote wiring. But it's just the people that they're giving me to play, I don't really care about, and the actual overall action of the game is just not it's just not clicking with me. And I'm thinking if maybe they allowed you to create your own character, but they did that with the second one. And while that was fun, it never really like the games never really hooked me. So that was kind of disappointing. Because I was hoping that this one would be a lot better, but I knew that going in, like a lot of people did not like that game, and it just did not do well. So I thought, okay, well, at least let me give it a try because even though I watch reviews and I think that some of them are spot on, most of them are not, and you never really know if you're gonna like a game until you actually try it. So, and I because I have bought a ton of games where reviewers just said that they were crap, but I bought them and I thought they were great. So, um, Mass Effect Andromeda being one of the ones that I see gets praises all the time. People hate it, so whatever. So yeah, I will not be continuing to play Watch Dogs Legion. I just did was not fun. It was not fun for me, so I probably will not be playing it. And then the last game that I played on my PlayStation 5 was Unknown 9 Awakening. Oh my god. So I went so this game is on super discount. It's like $12 or like $13 on the sale. And I watched a review of it and people were like, "Well, it's not that it's bad. It's just it came out like $60 and it 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 was a bit too I don't know if it's a bit too esoteric. Maybe people didn't like the protagonist because you play as an Indian female. Um or or was the gameplay itself? For me, the problem was the combat. I did not like the combat. I thought the combat was not intuitive. You have a bunch of moves that you can do with like possessing people. You have like force type powers and you possess people and you can make yourself invisible and pull people's souls out of their bodies and then that's the takedown for it. And I don't know. There was just like the combat that you're doing. It's sort of this pseudo Bat Arkham style combat, but you have to like move out of the way. And I thought the fluidity of the movements looked good, but reacting to other people just did not work. And there's like a stealth mechanic, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but as it worked together, it just didn't work together. I think that was the main part about it. So I just was not gelling with the combat and the movement and what was going on. The story I thought was interesting. The story was fun. It's these people who cycles. It's about cycles and like people were the universe has cycles and every cycle ends and then another cycle starts, and the unknown nine are these nine people who shielded themselves from the last cycle, and now they're trying to break the cycle and trying to stop them from breaking this cycle. So, and I guess it was a huge push for the game with like a podcast, and I think there was like stories about the game. So the universe and the lore is pretty rich. It was just the game that came out was not very good, and I think that's the problem. Is you can have like a really cool story and a really cool push for it, but if the mechanics aren't there, it's just not it. And then the last thing that is against it is its length. It's only like 10 hours long. So people were really annoyed about that. It's only 10 hours long, and maybe they did that because they were thinking about they'd make another one or something. I don't know. So,
Wasn't there a
but
comic book
I think there
based
was.
on this game?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they actually had a comic and they did some. I think they might even did a light novel or something. So yeah, it had a pretty big media
Mhm.
push, which was weird though because like I remember it, and people talking about it, and then poof, it was gone. And now we know not at least now I know why. It just the gameplay
Yeah.
just wasn't there. Like wasn't there. So I was really
Ba-
sad
Ba-
about it.
Bandai Namco was the one that published this game, and
Yeah.
pretty much after it came out, it was just a thing to where the studio got disbanded. So that's how
Oh,
bad it went. So for
yeah.
that
Mhm.
particular studio, they were definitely swinging for the fences, and they fell short. So
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I thought the character models looked good. I thought the story was interesting. It just the gameplay was not there, and I thought, okay, maybe. And again, I'm not like if I could play your game and the story's good, I'm gonna play it. But it's very rare for me just to be like playing a game and be like, wow, this is just not intuitive. It doesn't feel good to play. It's all the some of the movements were kind of esoteric and just okay. So yeah, I was really sad about it.
It
So
probably would have done better at a lower price point.
no,
I think if
even
this would
that,
have been really even at
no,
40.
nope, not even at 40. Honestly, the problem, Kev, was the gameplay. The gameplay was it just like the mapping of the buttons and how you played the game. It just didn't like you're in your and I've played a lot of games, right? But you're playing it and like the attack button is not where you think it should be. There's no jump, which is fine. Some games don't need a jump button, you
You can't
know.
remap.
I couldn't. I didn't even try. I was like, seriously, I was so annoyed with it. Like I did that. I'm
Yeah,
serious. I've never done this before, but I couldn't find where I was going, and I heard the voice of the because like you're in the first portion of the game, you're being led to this area to find the evil guy, and there's nothing prompts or anything saying because you can like squeeze through like rocks to get to places. There's no prompts to where the rocks are. I literally was running around this area for like five, you know, 8 minutes, just like trying to find where this woman went to. And I was like, where are you? And I finally found it. And she's like calling out to me. And she's like, we have to go. We have to go. We have to go. And I'm like, well, if you told me where you were or showed me where you went, it's just like, ah. So I don't know. It's just maybe I'll try it again in the future. Like I own it forever. It's digital, so I own it forever. Hopefully, knock on wood. So we'll see what happens. But no, I don't think any kind of a price point would have helped it. It's just and there's just that was the thing. And it's like you can the one thing that I really hate in games is when the environment is destructible, but you get nothing for it. Like you can break stuff in this game and like nothing is in it. Like, and I'm just like, okay, like I understood that. Like, if you're gonna make things destructible, like at least give me a reason to break the stuff. That I never understood why they would make something like destructible if you don't get anything for it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know. Give me like a
yeah. This
point for it. Like, I never
yeah,
understood
this
that.
game was the. I had heard that the mechanics were kind of problematic too. It didn't help that the Chutosphere was feasting on this.
Oh,
So
because of the
since its
antagonist.
inception, yeah,
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a whole lot of that going on. That was like that. I think that it combined with the fact that the mechanics weren't good, and it seemed like it had a whole lot of other things going for it with regard to world building
Hmm.
through other medium. It just if the game would have been better because I was curious about the game. Um, I just didn't. I didn't think it was worth $60
It was not.
from the
Not at all.
gameplay that I saw. It just didn't seem like it was worth
Not at
sixty
all.
bucks. But I was definitely
No.
curious about it.
Yeah, and I even watched a couple reviews, and everyone basically kind of like, well, not everyone, but some of them, like I try to stay away from, the Chud reviews, and I try to like look at actual people who actually play the game, um, and see what they have to say. But a couple of things that they were saying was kind of accurate, and the thing about it is like there was just nothing to do in the areas that you were in either. So I don't
Mm.
know. If you like it, it's on sale right. If you want to try it out, it's on sale right now for like $13. You can go check it out. It definitely feels like it's one of those games that should have been, um, on PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Free, like a free game of the month. But I think people will be pissed if that happened though, so maybe not.
Yeah.
It's on the Woot sale too. If you want the physical, I believe it's around like 15, $16 on Woot. So I actually bought a copy off of Woot, so I own the game. It's
Yeah.
just sitting in the pile
So
with everything else. So
yep. So the last game I played, Joe. So again, like Joe was saying earlier, we have been talking and trying to find a game to play together ever since Borderlands. We've been trying to find a game to play that we can play together and just kind of like and he called me up, or he called me up. He's like, I have a game we want to play. I'm going to play forever. It's Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I'm like, okay, we could play that. It's like we could play our Switch, and I'm like, okay. So I dusted off my Pro controller, plugged it in, and started playing it. And then this bastard says, "Well, I'm gonna wait till the Switch 2 and play it." I'm like, "You son of a..." So here I am playing the game,
oh,
and
you can play the game all you want. Yeah,
no,
multiplayer is
Joe.
open up until chapter 6, so it's not like we could game up together or anything
I
like
know,
that.
but you're not even playing it. So I'm sitting here playing with myself, and I'll be at chapter 6, not doing anything. You're just kidding. I'm just kidding. Um, so the game is crazy. The game is crazy. All these Japanese games, not all of them, but they like sometimes they just be building in mechanics just to build in mechanics, y'all. I don't know. Like so this game is everything is auto attacked. Number one, so everything is auto attack, and so you auto attack, you auto shoot, and you auto melee, which is okay depending on your range. So that was something to get used to. And then you have certain moves that you can hit to put on that go into cooldown or cooldown, mode after you do it, and it's depending on the move. And 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 then there's this, health system that you do, because if you're able to combine certain moves or do something in tandem with your teammate, you can heal yourself and do some other stuff. And um yeah, it's just like I'm still in the opening intro of the game, and I'm still trying to like get the fine tuning. And they give you so much gear, and I guess there's like a class system as well, because I'm getting gear that is not for my class. And the music is crazy because it's all like early 2000s hip hop dance music with lyrics. So I don't get that, because I'm sitting here trying to play the game and hear this like, "Yo, we're going to this planet and we're going to do this and blah 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 blah." And that's it's like, yeah. And so I'm like at a dance party, and I'm fighting giant pig monsters. So there's a lot going on in this game, and this is just
You,
an
you
opening
sure you weren't
hour.
playing DJ Boy?
I don't know. I don't know. Like there was just so much going on in this game, and I'm just like, okay, so
That sounds like DJ Boy with that horrible '90s.
yeah. I mean, the tracks are bananas. Like, and I really say that because like I pretty much will listen to pretty much anything. Even some country if it's okay. But this stuff was like it's crazy. Like I've never heard an RPG with this kind of music, and
Mm.
it's just interesting. It's just an interesting, like, I don't know. I I'm at a loss for words, because like it's so out of place in the game when you're fighting, but when you're like
Like,
walking around, it's kind of like chill and stuff. But then when you start fighting, it's just like this kind of like super like high energy dance music, hip hop
mm.
dance music. It's like I'm at like an aerobics class doing Taibo or something. It's weird. And then
This
as
is
he's
what the
yelling
kids
at
are listening to.
this
Put
is
it
I'm
in the
listening
game.
to the Japanese folks think the kids are listening to, because I was like, I don't know what you're doing, sir, but it's weird. So I'm still trying to get to the first city. I've died a couple times because like everything hits hard, and there's just so many systems. Japanese folks love to put so many systems in their games, and I'm just like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Like, so I'm gonna continue it though. I'm gonna continue it. It's not bad. It's actually pretty fun, but I can understand where Joe's saying that you get that sort of like Fantasy Star kind of feel to it. It looks like Fantasy Star. You get so many weapons when you're after you fight people, and you get so much um extra stuff that you're just kind of like hoarding, and it's just like so I can understand why Joe loves it because he's a big old gaming hoarder. So. But that's a great segue into what Joe's been playing because it obviously wasn't Xenoblade Chronicles X. He just left me out to dry. So yeah, thanks, Joe.
I'm a horrible person. What can you say? So,
So what have you been playing, Joe?
as far as usual stuff, Monster Hunter Wilds, up to Hunter rank, I think 106 on Monster Hunter. I've been trying to talk people to come back into the fold a little bit. Some Street Fighter DLC just came out on Tuesday, and I've played a little bit of it, but I haven't opened up Kuma yet on there. But I was looking at the move set for Kuma. It looked kind of wild as far as the kind of moves you could do with him on there. So I'm looking forward to diving into that and getting to the minutia for that. Pretty much got all my parts for my lance set. I'm looking for a couple of decorations, and so I keep rolling decorations, and I'm not getting the one with the because I'm looking for a decoration with a couple of different attributes, and so I'm not getting the god roll for what I'm needing for this particular lance set currently at the moment, and I'm kind of low on armor spheres. I'm waiting to gem up my armor set as well on that. So, if anyone out there is playing Monster Hunter Wilds, or even if a couple of the hosts on this podcast want to play Monster Hunter Wilds, definitely let me know. I am more than willing to give that play some
Well,
multiplayer out
I
there.
know,
So,
I know, I know Christian and his folks are still playing. So
right
Christian
on.
and Ben and all them, they still play on the regular. So that might be
Okay,
those might be some folks that you want to like connect with.
right on. That'll work. Also, been playing a little bit of Destiny 2. Now, I'm pretty much decided that I am going to go and push through to play at least the last couple of DLCs. Part of PlayStation Plus for June, they enabled or made for free the Final Shape, which was the latest DLC for Destiny 2. And so I'm gonna be taking a very like hands-off, like just check out the story missions and not worry about doing any Iron Banner or doing any multiplayer at all or anything like that. So I'm not going to be looking for a god roll of anything like that. So it might be something for me to just grab back on. I know that the latest Destiny 2 DLC or expansions coming out next month, I believe. So you think they're going to get their hooks back in me, Des?
Yes. Yes, 100%. You love Destiny. You are a Destiny fan through and through, and I know you're gonna enjoy it, and that's why you play your games, right? You always go back to your favorites.
Yeah. It's like
So,
old pair of shoes or something. So speaking
yep.
of old pair of shoes, yeah, Borderlands 3. I'm just going through right now. I'm trying to find the siren spots in each level. There's these like beacons that opened up towards the end of the game. Basically, that gives you a little bit more background on the siren and their backstory and whatnot on there. And basically, you were not able to activate these until about four-fifths of the way through the campaign on there. So they have like little spots on each map that basically you could go in and activate them. And I'm just working to get the trophy. Basically, is it? And I've been throwing it on and just like at first I was gonna keep Mayhem level 3 and try to make it an actual go, but I found that just trying to get through the level is kind of a slog because I'm not doing anything but just trying to open up this iridium spot on there with the narrative, the short little story drops that they're doing for the siren and whatnot. So it's just so I just decided to just take the mayhem level deck back to normal level and just kind of plowing through. In fact, I'm just running through the levels, not even engaging the enemy. I absolutely have to. Or if there's a level 72, 73 baddie that comes out that it might be worth for me to kill. So So if I continue to play Borderlands 3, I'll probably start hitting up the DLC, and there's like I think 4 or 5 story expansions on there, so it might be something I'll take a look into. So played some games with John BT. We played went back to Journey to the Savage Planet and actually beat the campaign. So pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't really think it was the end of the campaign because of the way we were, and it's kind of the game's open ended as far as open world and whatnot. Kind of funny that I didn't really open up everything as far as powers and that kind of thing. So, but fun to play and fun to beat up multiplayer for sure. So both me and John are going to be playing the Savage Planet sequel. So I believe it's Revenge of the Savage Planet. So
Yep.
And I own it, and I know John started to play a couple of nights ago. So we'll be definitely playing that. So if you're interested in playing that, definitely let us know on there. And last thing, I went back to Golf Story on my Switch One. So my Switch One's been kind of kicking it in my bedroom a little. So it's something I grab portably to play, while I'm lounging in bed watching YouTube or whatnot. So once the Switch 2 comes out, I'm going to put the Switch 1 in my bedroom on there so I can just kind of play maybe some old Switch 1 games in bed or have a dock ready to go on my bedroom TV and kind of use it for that purpose. So as much as I would love to trade it into GameStop, I think, just getting measly amounts of money for it compared to just owning and keeping it, especially with the OLED screen and everything. So unless, any of you two maybe have a friend or someone that wants to have a original Switch on there, but GameStop is just going to lower that price because they got all these fools coming in and trying to trade in their stuff to get the Switch too. So, and I don't want to be that kind of customer that has to go in and try to do a system transfer before picking up a Switch 2. I'm not even buying a Switch 2 from GameStop anyway, so I'm actually getting my Switch 2 from Best Buy and getting Desmond's Switch 2 from Walmart. So
maybe
now it will come in.
Just the hope.
Right now, if you trade in an original Switch to GameStop, you would get a hot base price of $85. So is $85 for a Switch?
Well, you can get yourself a copy of Mario Kart.
Or you could get Switch OLED. You could trade that in for $95. So imagine giving up $95 in store credit. If you traded cash, you could get up to $66.50 if you trade it in for cash at GameStop. So, so they could buy more crypto coin. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, but as far as movies or other things I've been up to, I have been seeing a few movies. So watch the Karate Kid Legends today. So boy, oh boy, this is like I'm not expecting Oscar-winning performances or anything, but it was good for what it was. So. Kind of cheesy. Kind of remind me a little bit of a Spider-Man movie, just in Karate Kid form. So it's like, but obviously at the end, the Karate Kid has to win. Oh boy, beat the bad guys, the big bad. Oh boy. So luckily it's an hour and 28 minutes, and it was a good conclusion to the latest in the Karate Kid saga. So.
Okay.
I've not watched Cobra Kai, so I don't know if I heard Cobra Kai is actually pretty good. So
I have no idea. I've never watched any of it.
Yeah, I think the last Karate Kid movie I actually saw was Karate Kid 2. I don't know. They'd probably pay me money to watch the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith in there. So
it wasn't that bad. I saw it.
Oh, you saw it? Was it good?
It wasn't that bad.
Okay. All right, but other than that, that's all me for the last couple of weeks. So
that's Kev's up next.
So I haven't been playing much. I've been playing the hustle game, doing a lot of work on my stores and whatnot. So Game related, it's been the same. AC Shadows when I have the time. I don't think I'm going to finish AC Shadows, or at least I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it in this playthrough because it's really starting to get long in the tooth. And I think this is the I think this is the what would I say? The pattern for newer AC games, I would say since Origins, that they stuff these, well, no, not even Origins. I would say for Odyssey definitely. Um they stuff it with so much crap to do, and on top of it they have implemented uh, this skill level system. So you're constantly having to do busy work just to build up your character's skill level so that you'd be able to continue with the main story. I'm at a point now where the story is kind of interesting. Well, it's always been interesting, but there was a betrayal that took place that I really didn't see happening. And when this gets handled, we're going to create a whole other enemy. And I'm really interested to continue on, but I can't continue on because the next character in my on the revenge arc is at level 32, and my
Hmm.
strongest character is at level 24. And I'm just it going in and fighting opponents when you're that underpowered, you're not hardly doing any damage. And I have a bunch of side stuff that I can do, and it's just way too busy. It's way too much busy work. The busy work wouldn't bother me if I didn't have to do it in order to upgrade my character's strength levels. So I don't know. I'm feeling really tempted to just kind of put the game down for a season and then pick it back up at a later date because it's just getting really long in the tooth. The gameplay is still fun. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. The story is good. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, but it's suffering from modern Assassin's Creed-ism, which is just too much stuff that you kind of sort of have to do in order to keep your character at the proper strength level to move forward. And I don't really like that much. So I don't know. I'll probably be sitting it down for a bit and going on to something else. There, Helldivers 2. They've had a recent update where Super Earth is under attack, so you're actually doing missions on Super Earth in several different mega cities. I've done those, and you're fighting against the Illuminate. I've done those. Those are fun. The Illuminate is unfortunately the Illuminate does not is an enemy type that really doesn't afford you much loadout variety if you're running solo. You must have a jump pack of some sort. You either got to have the hover pack. Even better, you have to have the jump pack because you need to be able to make a whole lot of space between you and the Illuminate because they so many of them swarm you at one time. So there's not a whole. I like fighting the Illuminate, but there's just not a whole lot of loadout variety that you can do when you're running solo. I'm sure that's different. It's different because I've watched people squad up on these Super Earth missions, and you can have a much greater variety. But running solo, if you don't have the jump pack, and I've been taking the stalwart because you need something that can spit out a lot of ammo to drop the enemy shields on the spawning ships so you can take them out. if you don't have those two things, you're and the grenade pistol to actually blow them up when you got to launch a grenade through the open door on the spawn ships. And if you don't have that, then you're 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 making it way harder on yourself than it has to be. But I think that the bugs are still my favorite enemy to fight. There's just something really cathartic about fighting a swarm of giant insects coming your way. Um, so Helldivers 2 is still a lot of fun. Played a little bit of the Blades of Fire demo,
What'd you think of
and
that?
I was tempted to buy it, but here's the reason why I'm not. The There is a mechanic in this game where you get to forge your own weapons, and instead of just collecting the materials and you forging them yourself, you have to actually forge the weapon by striking the raw materials with your hammer. You have the whole premise of this is that you've been given through a series of events that are very effectively and concisely expressed in the introduction of the demo. You have this anvil that was one of the creating tools of the world by the gods. So, and I'm sure your character is either some type of demigod because he's got some funky powers when he holds the anvil. Um, but you have to use the anvil to strike the raw materials after you pull them out of the forge. And whenever you strike it brings up this bar that almost looks like a kind of like when you're setting audio frequencies on an amp. So you have to maneuver the levers or by moving the anvils from left to right on this bar graph and then striking it where where you want to get the bars to be. It is just hella confusing to me. Um, Now I'm sure I could go on YouTube and watch how this is done and watch how other people do it, and maybe it'll make more sense. But I think it's a cool premise, but the execution is just not good. And I don't basically the idea is that the better forging you do of your weapon, because all of your weapons will break if you use them constantly, the better you forge the weapon, the more forge stars you make, and your forge stars are what you need to do repairs on your weapons. So if you make a sucky if you make a sucky weapon, you're not going to make enough forge stars. And if you make a weapon that you really like, but you did a sucky job at making it, it's not going to affect its durability or its strength, but you won't have enough forge stars to fix it later on after when it starts, breaking down. I don't like that mechanic. I don't think it executes well. Another thing that I think is a little kind of wonky is the combat system itself, the melee. It's very impactful, very as cliche as it sounds, very visceral. What I don't like is that the attacks are based on your face button. So triangle is an attack to the head, circle is a horizontal attack from the right, square is a horizontal attack from the left, and the X or cross button is a vertical attack from the bottom up. And what you need to do is you need to find like a combat flow on your weapon. Like you may start with a attack, like your first weapon is a hammer. So I found like if I start with a right attack, and then I go into a left attack, and then I go into an upwards attack, and then a downwards toward the up attack by hitting the X button. The combat flow was a little better, but it's not as intuitive and as I was hoping it would be. Graphically, it's nice. It's a very pretty game. Frame rate is solid. I think there's a lot to the game. I don't think this is an avoid. I just think this is a game that just really for my type of melee, it's just not feeling it's not scratching that itch for me. So I was really kind of interested in the game when I first heard about it, but after playing the demo, I just don't think it's for me. Uh, the combat, no, the forging of weapons being the biggest deficit against it in my book, at least. But again, I'm YouTube will show you how to do everything, so I'm sure you can go onto YouTube. But the rest of the game that I experienced in the demo does not it's not encouraging me to overlook the forging or figure wanting to desire to figure out the forging to enjoy the rest of the game. I'm just not motivated to do so. But I would encourage folks to at least check out the demo because you might find it great. The other thing I did, and I've heard mixed. It's definitely a mixed bag from I had heard. Is I downloaded AntStream, which is a retro gaming streaming app. I had first heard about it on actually I guess it's been out for a while. It's on all the major platforms as well as mobile, I think. And it's been on PlayStation for a little bit. And again, I've heard it's a mixed bag. Some people say it sucks. Some people say it's okay, but you have a library of 1,300 retro games and new games supposedly added every week. So I went on ahead and jumped in with the cheapest option being the 12-month subscription. So I grabbed that. Off the bat, I think the premise is very good. I'll start with the negative. This is the thing I didn't like about it. So, but I understand why they did it that way. I still don't like it. So when you go and when you purchase the whatever, because you can get, I think for 99 for $100 you get a lifetime membership, uh, forever access, for lack of a better word, uh, to all the games that they have and the games that will be coming to the library. Uh, because I'm trying it, I grabbed the 1 year subscription. So I have my PayPal attached. So I paid for it through my PayPal. And when you do that, before you start, it kicks you out to the AntStream website on the browser on the console. And then you have to add a card to to the site, which I didn't like. It's like, well, I've got my PayPal. Why can't my PayPal be used? Well, basically when you add your card, it runs that through, and I guess because your account follows you on AntStream regardless of what system you're playing on. I guess that's what I'm thinking. The reason why I think that they have that because I got a email from AntStream welcoming me, and like my login system is whatever my PSN is, so I get that. But I just don't like. It's like, well, use my PayPal for everything because that's why I have it. So that was like my initial thing that I didn't like. Um, what I do like about it, and I've only played about 3 or 4 games. They have like a mix of retro console and arcade games on the app, everything is streamed, so you're not downloading anything. It is a streaming content. I played Strikers 1999. I played
Oh,
Double Dragon. I played Space Invaders, and I played, what was the other game that I played? I played Burger Time, and I didn't notice a significant lag in anything that I played. Strikers 1999 is a bullet hell, um, and I didn't notice any lag in my abilities and movement and my firing and my shooting. I didn't notice any hitches in the frame rate. Strikers is a very fast-paced game, very fast-paced shmup, and I didn't notice anything odd about it. You do get some kind of you do get like like what do they call that, dim switch things
Diff,
that you
diff,
can.
diff switches,
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah, you get like dip switch things that you can do. You press the touch bar, and that brings up the options, and you can make adjustments. Some games, I haven't tried any of the SNK games. The one thing that I don't like is that the SNK games have our default for the sweat mode. So it's like if you're playing Metal Slug and you shoot somebody, they spew out sweat instead of blood, which I think is the dumbest thing in the world. That just irks the hell out of me. That's why I'm hoping that they have options to switch to the blood on that. Um, if not, I'll just stick to my Ken Hank, because my Ken Hank has the bloody versions of all the SNK games, and it's like Samurai Showdown is the same thing. Like the default is like you're cutting people and sweat just flies off of them instead of blood. It's like that's just so dumb.
Oh,
But
yeah.
uh,
When I heard about it on stream, and I just really didn't want to try it because of the fact that the emulation is done via streaming versus natively. So, and I've
it's
seen
the streaming thing.
it's a
Yeah.
streaming thing, yeah. I almost wish in a way that they had something to play the game natively versus streaming the game because I mean you figure a ROM is so small, you know.
Yeah, I can definitely see why people would object to that, but I haven't noticed anything that has been detrimental to my play in the few games that I've messed with. Like Burger Time, it was Burger Time. Like I played Burger Time on my Ken Hank, which is natively stored on the drive, and the Ant Stream version plays exactly like the Burger Time arcade ROM that I have on my PC. I didn't notice anything. Um, but I get it. I think some people would rather have the be able to download these games. But I to me the streaming aspect really hasn't been a hindrance at all. I haven't noticed any real difference in play. Another cool thing that you can do is that they have tournaments, which are basically kind of real time score chases for certain games. They have like challenges, like right now they've got you've got to use Andy Bogard in Fatal Fury and get and score a perfect on, I can't remember what the opponent is. So you can, and what's cool is that you don't have to load the game itself. You just go to the challenge section and it will load up that particular section, that particular challenge, and it's just ready to go right there. Um, the challenge that I did was the Space Invaders one, where you had to see how many waves you can clear on one life, and it's like it's like I'm old because I barely I cleared out one, and I got killed right when the last dude blew up. He dropped it. He shot his laser, and I blew him up, and I couldn't move out in time. So we I remember I used to play Space Invaders for long periods of time. It's like my reflexes are so terrible now that I'm old, but I like those cool things that you can do, like the challenges. They have tournaments uh, for all kinds of different games, and a lot of that is just like score chases. Uh, so I will be. I'm going to. I'm going to. I'm looking forward to kind of digging into the content. On the front page, they have a few like 2600 games, like Asteroids, the 2600 version of Asteroids. They also have the arcade version, the vector graphics version of Asteroids. They've got a bunch of stuff. Double Dragon, arcade Double Dragon 1, arcade version Double Dragon 2, whole bunch of stuff. I also played Rygar, the arcade version of that. And it's
Okay,
just a
Rygar is
really
kind of
cool.
rough, man.
Well, the arcade version of Rygar is they don't have the NES version.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard a lot of people say that the NES version of Rygar is better. I don't think I
I
ever
liked it.
played the NES version of Rygar, but
I had it.
Yeah,
uh,
I loved it. Yeah.
yeah. So they had Rygar. I always liked it in the liked Rygar in the arcade. They got Dynamite Duke, which I haven't got around to playing yet. They've got some arcade racers. They've got a couple of the Sega Rally arcade games. They've got I know they have Outrun. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there. So I'm going to be digging through, particularly with my schedule. I don't have a whole lot of gaming time, and I'm finding myself getting more and more into retro anyway. So this is kind of like a good way for me to, scratch that desire to continue gaming, which I do. I love gaming. I just don't have the time that I wish I had in order to do it more. So an app like this is really going to fit in my gaming schedule. So um,
For those on Game Pass, actually, Antstream, they basically are running the retro classics on Game Pass, and so that's all Activision games that
mhm,
are on Xbox Game Pass. But it's basically all old Activision games, and they have a whole like suite of 2600 or games from that era, including Microsoft has all the Magic games too. So Demon Attack,
mhm.
Cosmic Arc, Atlantis, all those games are on the service as well. So
Yeah, so I'm not having I think it's cool. I'll see how it goes with as I dig deeper into the library, but thus far I think I'm going to be having a lot of fun with it. Um, I I still think the what like stuff like what Ken Hank does is just awesome. Um, and I definitely understand folks' reluctance when it comes to not being able to download these games. But for me, just being able to just kind of jump in on the console and not having to boot up the PC and waiting for Windows to update and you know waiting for the drive to spool up and all this other stuff. It's I'm able to jump into Antstream faster than I'm able to jump into my Kin Hank, which I think is it seems kind of it's weird, but that
Not really.
yeah, it's that's it. They're streaming it, and it's right there for you, and you've got save states and everything right there on the console. So I'll be digging further into that. But that's really all I've been doing these past couple of weeks. So I'm gonna kick this. We've got a main event coming at you. So Des, you got the mic, my friend.
Alrighty. So, for this week's main event, we're actually going to talk about that in a minute. We actually got a response from last episode's question that John BT asked, and the person who answered it was John BT himself. So, thank you, John, for contributing to your own question. We really like that and appreciate it. So, last episode's question was going back through the various consoles you've owned, what is your single favorite game from each? So, John went through and gave us a list. So, for the Atari 2600, he says adventure for sure. Yes, I have fond memories of adventure and going through different walls and finding secrets and everything. It was revolutionary for the time, and I loved it. For Intellivision, we have Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Never played it, but I'm sure it was fantastic. Sega Master System, Miracle Warriors. I napped this entire game. I mapped this entire game on graph paper and beat it 3 times. Huh. I've never heard of it. Joe,
It's,
did you play this?
I played I never beat Miracle Warriors, but I did get graph paper out on there. It had like kind of an overhead map, and it was really easy to get lost. And so, yeah, it was something that you needed to do to actually remember where things were on there because it didn't have a mapping ability with the game. So I really
So
enjoyed
annoying.
Miracle Warriors. So
So annoying. Anyway, next up is from the NES or Nintendo Entertainment System was Wizards and Warriors with Metroid as a close second. For some reason, I was obsessed with Wizards and Warriors. I never played it.
yeah, it was
Super
a claim game that Rare brought out, and it was a really good game. I don't know if you
cool.
played that, Kev, or not.
No, I never played Wizards and Warriors.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
think I've heard of it, but I never played it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sequel Iron Sword had Fabio on the cover, so.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Ooh, I remember that.
Is it like Rastin?
No, it was more like a dungeon, a Ghouls and Ghosts, a little bit with a UK twist. So
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never played it.
I remember playing the second one, so that's kind of funny. I do
yeah,
remember playing the second one. Okay. Super NES, Final Fantasy IV, though it was 2 back then. I wasn't really playing Final Fantasy games back on the Super NES. I mean, I did play them, but I was not as super into them as I am now. So my RPG stuff didn't come until much later. So. TurboGrafx 16 Ease books 1 and 2 on the CD and Dungeon Explorer on card. Wow. Okay, cool. I didn't realize Ease was both on that system. Did
yeah,
you
it
have those,
was.
Joe?
Ys Books 1 and 2 was the launch game for the TurboGrafx CD, and I always wanted the TurboGrafx CD, the actual fat one, but I didn't get to play that game until the Turbo Duo came out, the one that had both the TG16 and the CD built into one, basically. So, but I played it at that point. I didn't play it at launch. I just looked at it, and I just didn't think $400 was worth, buying it, so. I
Really?
played the hell out of Dungeon Explorer though. It was a kind of a gauntlet-like overhead dungeon crawler on there, actiony. It was really good on there, so I could definitely see why John played a ton of it. So
Mm. Well, okay then. Next up, Genesis Fantasy Star 2. No question. Man after your own heart. Uh, Joe.
yep.
Next up, PlayStation, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, my all-time favorite video game. Ooh. Yes, I remember playing that as well. The funny thing about that game is you kind of had to, well, you didn't have to, but there was a trick where you could get super busted on that game. What you would do is you would so you'd have to get this. There was a weapon that you would get. It was like a cane, and you could attack from the front and the back, and you would stand in one of the earlier levels where the zombies just kept coming up and coming at you, and then you'd put on like a turbo. to kick the turbo button, and then or you would tape the controller down, the attack button down, and then you would just let it go overnight. And when you came back to it, you were like level 100. So that used to be my go-to for beating that game, and it was just hilarious because you were just like one shot everything. It was so glorious. And I know it's like crappy and you shouldn't do that, but I absolutely adored it. I thought it was just like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm so cool, but I wasn't, you know. Anyway, John, let us know if you did that. You probably did. I think everyone did at some point, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. So, Saturn, Guardian Heroes. Okay, that's a good game. I remember playing that with Joe. PS3, The Last of Us. I missed the PS2 era almost completely. Okay, well, I would say you didn't miss much, but you did. a lot of those, games that Joe pirated. I'll never let you live it down, sir. So
PS2 was baller. It was,
yeah,
yeah, PS2 was baller.
Yeah,
yeah.
pirate on PS2. You make me sound like some big ass pirate on the seven seas or anything. I was just doing it along with everyone else on the PS1, maybe. So
I'm sorry. I did it just like everybody else. I didn't know. Yeah. Okay, Joe. Anyway, um, so PS4 Spider-Man. I agree 100%. It was my number one because it was just amazing. Just a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic game. And last but not least, PlayStation 5. He's gonna say God of War Ragnarok for now, and yeah, I think that's a pretty good game to kind of like leave it at right now because it's still kind of in its heyday. But some people are talking about that it's going to be the six is supposed to be coming out, or they're working on the six right
Six
now,
ain't
and
coming out anytime soon. And people don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know, but we'll see.
No, it
We
ain't
will
coming out
definitely see.
anytime soon. I wouldn't expect to see the six until 28, honestly. 28,
Yeah,
maybe 27, but people are talking about it like, well,
next
it's
week.
coming out next year. It's like, no,
Yeah,
it's not.
next week. Mhm. People are silly. So, but yeah, that is it for John's picks for his games from the various consoles that he's had over the years. And again, just because we're moving on to another question doesn't mean that you cannot answer this, and we won't mention it on a future episode. So if you're listening to an older episode or you hear something and you want to comment, please feel free to shoot us a comment. I always look at the comments on YouTube and or our Discord or our Blue Sky. So if you ever want to say anything to us or contact us, those are great ways to do it. And wait till the end, and Kev will let us know how to do that. But we have this episode's question, and this was piggybacking off of John's question, in which Joe asked, "What are your three favorite arcade games of all time?" And if you have an answer, let us know. We didn't get any answers, which is fine. No, people are busy, but we definitely have ours. And since this was Joe's question, I'm gonna have Joe start us off. Joe, what are your three favorite arcade games of all time?
my first one is going to be the one that actually got me into playing games hardcore to start out with, and that would be the original Space Invaders. So as soon as I saw this game, I think I saw the Ole for Holy of all places. I was hooked, and we went to Ole for Holy quite a bit on Sundays and whatnot. And I saw it other places, pizza parlors, so on and so forth. And
Ole Free
really,
Hole. Wow.
it kind of left a because back then they had arcade machines everywhere. They had that in grocery stores. You know, your mom would go to Save Mart and there's an arcade machine inside of Save Mart. Or obviously 7-Eleven had arcade machines up the yay too. Every liquor store had arcade games and so on and so forth. So, but that as soon as I saw Space Invaders, I really got enthused with that game. And as soon as I found out that there was an Atari 2600 version of Space Invaders, I kind of got the itch so I say. So Space Invaders is definitely up there for me. Another game that's up there for me is Samurai Showdown on here, and Samurai Showdown is one of the best SNK fighters. I think Samurai Showdown 2 and 4 are probably better games, but Samurai Showdown 1 was the game that I was playing when I met you, Desmond. And so I would say because of the fact that it was the game that kind of brought us together as friends, it's going to be up there. It's one of my favorite arcade games of all
It
time
was the
because of that
first
reason.
one. It was the
It was
first
the
one.
first one.
I thought it was the second one we played.
No, it was the first one. I remember when the second one came into Neon because it was in a different cab on there. It was original Neon red 4-slot game. We're playing the regular Samurai Showdown 1. It was not 2, so
Yeah, I liked them both. They were both good.
yeah, for sure. I remember that original Samurai Showdown, man. It's like I found the 7-Eleven. I think it was on like Dakota and Hughes is out there like deep in the cuts over there in West Fresno, and pretty much I went out there to play Samurai Showdown quite a bit, where you could find, where other places it was at, but it's like, I know that the 7-Eleven by Bullard High School had Samurai Showdown, so sometimes I'd be driving home from work. Back then I worked 5 to 1:30, I believe. It's the shift I was on, so I would stop at 7-Eleven, grab me a big gulp and sit my ass down on the chair down there and play some Samurai Showdown like at 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning and just kick it for a bit. So good memories on that. So, and then the last game I would say, there's tons of different fighters, tons of different games I love arcade, and I would have to say Virtua Fighter 3 was kind of an event on there. So it was, at the time, Sega was pushing technology in each of their new iterations of Virtua Fighter. And Virtua Fighter 3 came on this crazy ass graphical board. And I remember at the time because I saw the game like unveiled at, they had a display at E3, I think E3 1996 or 1997 is where they had Virtua Fighter 3 set up. And I remember the only arcade in town that had the game was Playland out there in Clovis, and I just remember going out there and just really enjoying it and getting into it. I met a few people out there that were playing the game too. My friend Dylan from BRE Software, we'd go down there and play Virtua, and that kind of got me into the whole Virtua Fighter, even more so than playing on Saturn, because Virtua Fighter 1 I didn't really like too much in the arcade, but when I had an opportunity to sit down and play it when I got my Saturn on launch on there, I really got into it. And then actually when Virtua Fighter 2 came out via arcade, I went to the Satellite Student Union at Fresno State at the bowling alley because they had the Virtua Fighter 2 arcade machine there. So you mentioned one of my favorite fighters of all time is Virtua Fighter. So I think 3 out of all of them, because after 3, Virtua Fighter 4 and 5 stayed in Japan via arcade. Otherwise, I'd probably find that game out wherever clever. Once it came to the PlayStation, Fighter 4 was like definitely one of my favorite games of all time. So those are my 3, and then I do have an honorary mention for memory's sake, but I would say Centipede. One thing about my oldest arcade memories is that my parents used to love to go play at the arcade too. We'd go all together as a family unit, and my dad would get like $5-10 worth of tokens, and we'd go to Cosmic Empire, we'd go to Chuck E. Cheese, and they'd play Miss Pac-Man, they'd play Pac-Man, but they really liked to play Centipede was their game. And my mom and dad basically, you put a 2-player, you put 2 quarters in the machine, play a 2-player game and go back and forth and alternate, and they would do that. And it was just really cool to see my parents really get into gaming back then on there. We played quite a bit of Atari 2600 too as well. And I remember, we were all excited as a family unit because when Pac-Man came out for 2600, we were like, I think my dad went to go get it at Montgomery Ward's, but Gottschalk's was another place that had it day one. And I remember it came out. Too bad it was really a poor port of Pac-Man on the 2600, but I still enjoyed it back then. So
I remember
just
remember your parents used to play. Your mom used to play Dr. Mario all the time.
yeah, both her and my dad played Dr. Mario, and they would alternate and see who could get the better high score. And they would kick my ass. So they played Dr. Mario, they played Tengen Tetris,
Mm.
and then my mom also played. In fact, I got her own Sega Master System because she would play Mahjong and Monopoly on it, along with some other games. I think there was a casino game on Sega Master System too that they played quite a bit.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, gaming's always been part of my family. It's always been something where my dad went through and went the extra mile to make sure I had new games to play, even much to their financial detriment and/or you know a lot of returning and trading in of stuff too. So
Yeah, we remember.
yep.
Cool. All right, Kev, you're up, sir.
So I'm gonna have to go with Discs of Tron. Um, Festival had the sit-down version of Discs of Tron, and that's probably my favorite overall arcade machine. When I retire and if I have the space, I am going to commission someone to restore a sit-down Discs of Tron arcade machine for me because that game is that game was awesome. It was very much based on the movies. You played as Tron in the foreground, so you could jump between three different hovering disc platforms, and the quote unquote discs that you had were more like gunshots. Really, the way that they came out, he really wasn't throwing anything; he was shooting them. Uh, and you were fighting Sark at the other end of the arena, and eventually, because it ran on a stick and pivot or disc combination controls, eventually, what you could do, you gained the ability to ricochet discs off the ceiling. And of course, Sark can do that too. And that created that was like a whole other arena of challenge. One of the funnest, and of course everybody kept saying, yeah, well, when you get to the end, they're supposed you fight the giant Sark, and it's like I was really good at that game. Like I broke 1,000,000 points on that game, and I never did see no giant Sark. So it was one of those games. It was one of the first games that I ever heard people start creating wives' tales about. Like I know that there was a wives' tale about Chun Li being able to throw her spike bracelets in Street Fighter Two. Of course that was never true. But yeah, that Discs of Tron was super awesome. My next is going. I'm going to have. It's going to be a combination. It's going to be Fatal Fury Special and Fatal Fury Real Bout Special. I'm going to go with Fatal Fury Special first because that was the game. That was the fighting game that pulled me away from Street Fighter.
Mm.
Um, for whatever reason, and I told EJ this the last time we were hanging out. I was like, you know what, man, I like Fatal Fury characters better than Street Fighters. He's like blasphemy. It's like, no, I know. It's like a lot
No,
of people would
that is
say
not
that.
blasphemy. Mm-mm.
I'm like, bro. It's like I rock with Andy and Terry more so than
Yep,
Ken and Ryu.
one
It
hundred
is what
percent.
it is. It is what it
One,
is.
I'm right there with you, sir. I am right there with you. Give me the Bogards
Yeah,
over Ken and Ryu. Just give
yeah.
no
It's like it is what
no
it is.
contest.
But I'm. It was Fatal Fury Special. Kim Calf won.
Yup.
and Jubei, the judo
Yup.
Jubei was a cheap bastard. It's like if you want to get somebody angry, if they're squashing you in that game, pick Jubei because you could. He was like a charge character. He had a dash grab that was really hard to knock him out. Like he could practically do it from half, like almost full screen. He when he threw his little rice cracker at you, kind of like Guile Sonic Boom, his recovery was so quick. Like you could throw it, do a strong standing normal, and then fall. By the time your opponent hasn't even recovered from that strike yet, he's still in hit stun. You can go in for a dash and grab. Cheap bastard, but I like using Jubei. My favorite character is probably still Kim,
Yup.
but Terry and Andy and Mai and Joe, and it's like that squad is just what pulled me away from Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I think that's what was hot in them streets at the time. It was
Hmm.
either Championship Edition or it was Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I can't remember which one. It was definitely the one where the boss characters were playable. That's when Festival got. That's when I recall seeing it at Festival and playing it. It's like, oh man, I don't need to. And plus, because everybody was on Street Fighter, I knew that Fatal Fury was going to be open. So it didn't matter when I was coming. I knew I was always going to be able to play that.
And it was great. Like
Yeah.
they were both like seriously. That was definitely my one of my favorite fighting game was that one, and I learned how to play fighting games on Fatal Fury actually.
Hmm.
So I definitely have a an affinity for that as well. So
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And Real Bout Special was just that was just an awesome game too. Billy Kane's damn near unblockable lane change
Ugh,
combo.
so cheap, so cheap.
I mean, I remember going. I remember just uh feeling really in beast mode at Blackbeard's because I was washing everybody at Real Bout using Billy Kay, and
Just
it was still I was using
rude,
that unblockable lane change.
just rude, just rude.
Oh yeah, but those were the days. But my third game, I'm going to go with Renegade, and
Oh wow.
there's only one reason I'm going to go with Renegade because there's a million and one other choices, but Renegade specifically because we had Renegade at Bullard at in high school. It was in the rec room, and I'll never forget. I had made it to the last gang. For those who don't know, Renegade is like it was like a technos. It's kind of where the like the River City, the whole River City games kind of. I don't know which came first, the River City or Renegade, but
Renegade came first.
yeah, okay, it was Renegade, but that's kind of where the whole River City Ricky and all them characters kind of came from this game. And basically, you are trying to rescue your girlfriend, and you got to go through several street gangs. You fight first the goons, and then you fight the goons with the goons boss. And each one kind of had a pattern. Like the first group are just kind of like regular street dudes in the subway, and you're fighting them. You beat them up, and then you fight this motorcycle gang, and then you fight this all girl kind of like lesbian gang looking group.
As
I
you
mean,
do.
this was before things were not politically correct back in the day. And then you fought this group of I don't know if they were supposed to be black dudes, but I they were kind of like I don't know. They were either zoot suit wearing Hispanics or light skinned blacks. It was hard to tell. But they had knives and they were trying to stab you. But I made it through all the gangs and I got to the last level where the end boss was where you're dealing with his goons. I took care of his goons. He's got a gun. And I had him down to like literally the last pixel of health. The bell had just rung for the end of lunchtime.
Oh
Damon is
no.
watching me play. Damon is watching me play. I'm wailing on this dude in the face. It's like, I got him. I got him. As I'm punching him, he pulls out the gun from his vest and shoots me dead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, I'm like, no way. No way did this just happen. It's like I'm literally wailing on him. He was like, I don't know how you're able to pull your gun out when I'm literally rocking you in the face. It's like you can barely stand, but I pull out my gun, boom. I had another life, but because the bell had rung, we had to get to class. So
I'm sorry, Kev.
it's like I didn't finish that game until it came out. Until it came out for on Arcade Archives on PlayStation.
That sucks, dude. That just feels bad.
Oh yeah, I was robbed. I was robbed. But that game was a whole lot of fun. Beat 'em. You could do like certain combos. Like you could attack if you were facing one direction, the other attack button would send a back kick in the opposite direction. You could do jump attacks, jump kicks. It was really cool. So and just kind of off like an honorable mention, I'm going to say Kageki. The first time I played Kageki was at 7-Eleven over there on where near the school. And that game was cheap. That game was a quarter hog, but for whatever reason I just I kept going back and back and back and back and back. I don't think I ever found that game anywhere else. I don't other than 7-Eleven, whoever was making their arcade selections for 7-Eleven, that particular one, uh, they were bosses in their arcade selection. I mean, they were picking gems, man. Like I've lost track of how many. Like the first time I played a dope arcade machine was in the 7-Eleven at that particular 7-Eleven right there by Bullard High. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with those three.
Cool. Alrighty. So for mine, I'm gonna round it all up. I'd have to say Samurai Showdown 2. I liked it because they basically refined everything that was great about Samurai Showdown 1 and just made it fantastic and just made it even better. And I played that one a lot more than I played Samurai Showdown 1. And even though I met Joe on Samurai Showdown, it was Samurai Showdown 2 playing that with him that I really remember and just was having a lot of fun with. Next one is Hyperdyne Sidearms. So I love this game. It was a game that whenever I saw it, I would just throw quarters and quarters and quarters into it. And it wasn't so much because of and I like the gameplay. It was a side-scrolling shooter, and it was just like a shmup and you it was a quarter hog. All those old games were quarter hogs. That's what you did. And I just loved it because it transformed. I was really into Transformers. I was really into mechs, and the fact that you could transform into a pseudo Gundam sort of thing, and then when you could also get this other power up, and you merged with the second player. It's a two-player game, and when you got this, you both merged together, and so player one would do the directional attacks, because you had a front attack and a back attack, so you could switch back and forth, so you could turn, left and right basically, and the other guy, or your player two, would activate the eight directional fighting, and I just absolutely just loved the game. The game was just so good. It just I don't know what it was about it, the way it looked, everything about it was just so much fun. And I just, to this day, that's one of my favorite games, and it's on
They
my
had
it's on
that at the school too. At my school
yeah,
too. Yeah, me
just
and Damon used to play that a lot.
such a great game. Just such a great game. And it was by the same guy that did Black Tiger. And so Black Tiger was another really good one, but
Mhm.
I just, something about Sidearms was just fantastic, fantastic game. And then the last game is going to be X-Men 92, the 6-player variant. Because if you don't know, X-Men 92 was a game that came out, and it was based on the Pride of the X-Men uh, Spider-Man game. Amazing Spider-Man did an episode called Pride of the X-Men. No, sorry, it was the actual X-Men game. I'm sorry, my bad. And it was Pride of the X-Men, and it was a series that came out. It was a cartoon that came out, and so all of the designs were based on Pride of the X-Men. It was based on that cartoon, and this was the video game about it. And you got to fight so many classic X-Men. It was basically you're fighting the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants mixed with Freedom Force at that time. I think it was who they were. So you had Pyro, you had the Blob, you had X-Men, you had Magneto was the main thing, and it was a side-scrolling beat 'em up. And the 6-player one is because there were six characters, and you could play all six of them together. And I remember playing that with my friends because we were all nerds, and we would play it, and it was just so much fun. So there was also the 4-player and a 2-player version, and I've seen the 2-player ones in the wild a lot more than the 6-player one, but it was the 6-player one that I just remember playing and just having such a ball at. I think it was at Neon, and it was just so much fun playing that game. It was just great. It was just so much fun. But yeah, those are my three. And if you want to answer this question, please do so, or the last question about the your favorite games per console. But we also have another question that we're going to be asking, and this is the question for episode 283. And that question, which is the next question, is if you're getting the Switch 2, what game or games are you excited to play on it? It's very simple. Our next issue is going to be Our next episode is going to be us talking about the Switch, because 2 out of the 3 of us will be having it, and we're going to talk about what we're going to be playing. I've been looking at all the games that are coming out for it, and I'm seeing which ones I'm going to get. And don't get it twisted, I will be still collecting for the Switch 1 as well. I will be playing both of them, but wanted to put that out there. And if you're wondering how you can answer any of these questions, whether on Discord or Blue Sky or YouTube, stay till the end, because Kev will let you know how to do that. But you know what follows me? It's the Jabroni Gaming News.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, so first topic on the docket for this particular episode, we are talking about the upcoming Xbox handheld. So right now, currently, Microsoft has reportedly, quote unquote, sidelined the development of its long teased first party handheld gaming device as it focuses its attention on third party portable opportunities, including the Asus Project Keenan, which is supposedly still due this year. Phil Spencer first discussed a Xbox handheld back in 2017, fueling speculation. The project has been recently revived. Then this March, Windows Central reported that Microsoft had settled on a multi-pronged handheld strategy, and it would be teaming up with a third party to release a Xbox-branded portable gaming PC this year under the codename Keenan. while it worked on its own internally developed device to release alongside an Xbox Series X and S successor in 2027. And now, Windows Central now claims that Microsoft has had some of a bit of a strategic rethink, and the development of its own handheld device has been sidelined on there.
No, say it isn't so.
So yeah, according to the publication source, the company has internally announced it instead prioritize its teams to improve Windows 11 performance, specifically for devices like the Asus partner device, Project Keenan on there. So it doesn't sound like Microsoft is completely abandoning its own handheld plans. However, Windows Central says the company still has big ambitions and is investing heavily to deliver a native Xbox handheld. But right now, third-party devices and Windows 11 will be where it focuses its resources. So we'll have to see what happens with all this. But yeah, as far as the rumors are concerned, what you're going to see is basically a ROG Ally that's modified to play Xbox PC games and run Windows 11. They to streamline Windows 11 quite a bit to be able to make it kind of equal to the Steam OS that, of course, Valve is introducing to other handheld devices. Besides the Steam Deck, the other rumor was that Xbox was working on emulators so you could be able to play original Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One titles on their bespoke device on here. I'm kind of curious to see if maybe they're going to eventually, and this is just my speculation, come up with basically a PC in a box running Windows, a modified version of a Windows 11 that's under the Xbox moniker that basically is going to run Xbox games via emulation and basically is running the PC version on this supposed Xbox. We'll have to see if that, Valve tried to do the Steam machines, quite a few years ago. A lot of people have been clamoring for Steam to actually come up with a set-top box. We'll see if Microsoft beats them to it. I don't know if they want to compete with all of the different handhelds out there, like the Lenovo Legion, see the ROG Ally from Asus, and also with the Valve Steam Deck on there. So it's just kind of where it's also rumored that PlayStation might release a handheld alongside the PS6 in the next few years as well. So, I mean, I would say, whatever they're going to bet on, they better put their chips on and not try to do too many things at once. In my opinion, they need to come up with some sort of Hail Mary pass because Xbox as it stands right now, I mean, it's changed, but, the days of going to your local retailer and looking at physical Xbox games and physical Xbox devices for sale at your local Target, Walmart, GameStop, kind of is going the way of the dodo, as we all commented on this show a long, long time ago. I mean, we love gaming, and all three of us have abandoned Microsoft and Xbox. So it's hate to say it, but I want to see whatever they decide to do. Them putting all their efforts forward and to make it an excellent device, whatever they decide to do. So, Kev, you got any opinions? I know you have opinions, so we'll kick it over to you on this. So,
Yeah, they just need to be a publisher.
Yeah.
Just stop faking the funk. Nobody's buying the Xbox. I was watching a podcast where they went to Target and Best Buy in real time, and they were unable to even order the system, either Series X. I think it was on Target the Series S was available, but no Series X's were available either on Target, Best Buy. I can't remember if they tried Walmart or not. Something's going on with regards to that. People ain't buying this thing because there is no incentive to own their console.
Nope.
And I think the reason that they've scrapped their internally developed Xbox handheld is preliminary tests of Steam OS are on YouTube right now using I think it's the Lenovo Legion
Legion Go?
Go,
Yeah.
and Steam OS is crushing Windows 11 on handheld because Steam OS has been engineered to run games, and Microsoft has not fine-tuned Windows to be really a good operating system on these handheld devices. It's cheaper. It doesn't consume as much power. Battery life is much longer on Steam, and is averaging 10 or more frames per second on all the different settings that you can use using identical hardware. So, yeah, they need to go back to the box, back to the drawing board. I think what they're just going to do is they're just going to have somebody else build it and slap an Xbox label on it and call it a day. If they do that, but they really just need to just be a publisher and quit faking the funk because they're just throwing money away at this point. Uh, I don't even understand why they're even faking the idea of returning to the console marketplace when it's obvious that that's not what they want to do.
No.
As far as if they do attempt it, I'd be really curious as far as what angle they actually take, whether there's a subsequent sequel to the Series X and S that they're gonna, do the same thing with, especially with the Xbox Anywhere initiative and whatnot. I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of modified PC at that point. But like you stated, and if they don't defunkify the OS and get all the Windows 11 kernels out of there, who wants to run spreadsheets on your game console? So it's like, I hate to say it, but a console should be lean and mean. It should not have a lot of overhead if need be. A lot of people have stated that, people that have invested in the Xbox ecosystem, as far as having software and whatnot, that they're just better off, like you guys stated, just becoming a third party. I mean, hate to say it, but, Desmond's sitting here waiting for a Valve to come out for platforms, and it's like, I'll be really curious. I mean, are either of you too excited to see what the Xbox showcase is coming up? That's coming up this upcoming weekend, so it's on Sunday. So
No.
I mean, I'm curious to see what games are going to be announced because I know if there's anything I'm interested in, I'll just get it on PlayStation. I mean, it's literally just like in my mind, I'm looking at this as if EA was doing a showcase, or Ubisoft was doing a showcase, or Capcom was doing a showcase. They're a publisher at this point. It makes no sense. And even if they did come out with a box that you could side load Steam on, again, what is the point? Those people already got a PC. Those folks that use Steam are using Steam now. Those people that have a PC have access to Game Pass on PC now. What is going to convince them to stop? They're on PC for a reason. They like the platform, they like the freedom, they like the ability to download games from whatever store or region they feel they so choose, and using whatever mods that they so choose from whatever storefront. They're already doing that. So why would they go to a box which is going to be locked in with as far as upgrade functionality is concerned when they're already a consumer of Steam and its services. So they just need to be a publisher. They need to be like Sega and Capcom and EA and just publish games.
they don't need to have a store. I mean, Microsoft Store tends to have not updated PC versions of games on there that they're, because they have to go through a different vetting process as far as getting the games. Usually on launch on PC Games Pass, the games that are on there are missing features. It's they're not running the latest version of the games either. So if I mainly gamed on PC, would I look at Microsoft Store other than it being just a curiosity at that? Who in their right mind is just going to put a game on the Microsoft Store and the Microsoft Store only? Even Microsoft has decided to put their games on Steam day and date, so it's like,
Which is like, again, it's like,
That's the whole
why?
thing. Yeah, it's
yeah.
like
So why would I want to invest in your ecosystem when you can't get the Windows Marketplace, Windows Store, basically being effectively a place where I could buy your games and to be able to say that, I want to run my games on Windows off of Windows Marketplace. I want to be able to go ahead and bypass Steam. It's not going to be my launcher of choice. A lot of people that have PC Game Pass are only on it because it's PC Game Pass, so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I'll be curious how they approach it or what they do. But right now you have rotting store displays in most retail outlets, and like the last time I went to Walmart, Xbox, they had like their clearance games and some other clearance stuff in the Xbox case itself. There was no Xbox games. They actually took whatever Xbox games and put one on each slot because otherwise it would be like a graveyard in there. So.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. So let us know what you think about the future of Xbox. Let us know. Message us on Discord or let us know on Blue Sky. All right, next story I want to talk about is Elden Ring Night Reign. So it actually launched this past week. It sold 2 million copies on day one. So that's kind of good news for Bandai Namco and for From Software on there. And while Night Rain is designed for 3-player co-op, it's also can be played single player. Though the general consensus is that it's much harder to play it alone on there. According to the publisher, patch 1.02 is going to be released next week and will include several bug fixes as well as improvements for solo expeditions on there. So while more details on the patch are set to come next week, it was at least confirmed that the automatic revival upon defeat effect, which allows one revival for each night boss battle, will be added to solo expeditions, while the number of runes gained in solo mode will increase as well. So right now, even though it did sell quite a bit, it does have mixed user reviews on Steam, with players criticizing the lack of a 2-player mode, the lack of depth compared to other From Software titles, and performance issues on PC. One thing I wanted to talk to both of you, would you be interested in checking out Elden Ring, or you would think about in a 3-player co-op kind of situation?
yeah, I'm interested in playing it.
How about you, Kev? Have you thought about it?
I'm kind of interested. It's like I haven't played Elden Ring yet. I have it. I have it loaded. It's just one of those games that's just way so far on my backlog. I don't even know if I'll
Yeah.
ever get to it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. It's just like, again, is this going to be one of them games that y'all get and y'all it's going to be hot in these streets for a week and then y'all just put it down and never play it again, or is it going to be something that y'all are going to be playing, think you're going to be playing for the foreseeable future? If I get it, I will get it because you guys are actively playing it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So if it's something that you guys are going to, I'll wait until you guys jump in. And if you're going to play and I mean, again, I would, if I really wanted the game, I would just pick it up. But I've got so much stuff in my backlog that to go back and play Night Rain, which is like a derivative of their prior games, when I haven't when I have Elden Ring and haven't even scratched it, it just seems odd, you know. So if y'all are gonna roll it, then I'll grab it. But if not, I'll just probably just wait, put it in a holding pattern till I get through some of the other stuff in my backlog.
We'll have to
Makes
see.
sense.
Des, are you thinking about it, or are you just contemplating it right now? I think you're
I'm contemplating
contemplating.
it. I
Got
I
it.
really have to look at it and see, like, hey, how's this looking? You
Yeah,
know.
well, maybe I have to see if others in the community want to play too as well, because we definitely would need a third on there. We also were kicking around playing Remnant 2. I don't know if that'd be a game you'd go back to, Kev, if me and Des start playing that on the regular. I know you tried it quite a bit of time ago when it first came out. So,
Yeah, I Remnant really wasn't my bag.
Yeah.
The playing it solo, because if I can't play a game solo, I really don't have a real. I don't like to get games where I'm dependent on other people because it's hard enough to connect with schedules of full grown adults trying to get trying to set up a time to play. So if I can't enjoy a game solo, then I'm probably not going to get it, just simply because my gameplay schedule is very crazy. I don't have a whole lot of time to play anymore. Uh, so I would hate to be, if people to have to getting a game because they think I'm going to be playing all the time. I don't like the idea of being dependent on others, and I don't like the idea of others being dependent on me to play a game, if that makes sense.
100%.
So yeah, Remnant, when I played it, I didn't vibe with it hardly at all, really. And I've got it in PlayStation Plus, I think. So, you know, I can throw it in there if playing with a group, but it's not going to be anything that I'm going to be investing any money into.
all right, next news story I want to talk about is a developer from Koei Tecmo posted a video on Thursday showing gameplay footage of the Switch 2 version of strategy game No Ambition. Like I say that three times, No Wabunga's Ambition Awakening Complete Edition. One thing that they were demonstrating in the video is that they were using the right Joy-Con 2's mouse controls to control an on-screen cursor. He was using various button presses on the Joy-Con, the right Joy-Con. The SL button on there basically had a message saying that the screen indicated that the controller was now on mouse. By pressing it again, the Joy-Con 2 switched back to controller mode. So he stated that the functionality is the same as the already released Steam version, allowing for left click, right click, and wheel operations, showing that moving the Joy-Con's analog stick up and down in mouse mode has the same functionality as moving a scroll wheel up and down on there. But they also showed on the demonstration, they plugged in a standard USB mouse on there, and this is a
Ooh.
USB mouse on like you would use on PC. And when the mouse is plugged in, the message on the screen shows that the mouse is connected, takes priority over the Joy-Con 2's mouse controls. Then the producer showed that it was possible to use the USB mouse with the right hand and continue to use the left Joy-Con 2 with the left hand, meaning that all cuts are still available even when using a standard mouse. So USB keyboards and mice can also be plugged into the original Switch, but because not many Switch games featured keyboard and mouse support, their use was limited. Because Switch 2 does support mouse controls, it's built into the Joy-Con 2 a number of games that support mouse controls, and therefore USB mouse are likely to be significantly higher on there. So I know a lot of people have been joking about the Joy-Con 2 specifically with mouse mode and saying that they need to Corey needs to bring out an accessory to like plug in the right Joy-Con to make it a lap mama or something where you can thigh master, you could rub the Joy-Con on your thigh if need be on there because how else are you going to play, especially sitting on the couch? But it's a point. It's kind of cool to figure that any USB mouse that you might have will work with the Switch too. So if you do want to play in dock mode and bust out a mouse and just do it that way, where you're using the Joy-Con left Joy-Con 2 in your hand to kind of move player around and use some shortcuts, that do the WASD as far as motions, and then using the mouse for mouse look as far as that's concerned. I think that might be something that's very, very interesting. So I think using an actual USB mouse might be a little more intuitive than using the Joy-Con too, to be honest. So Des, what do you think about this? Longing to plug in a USB mouse to your Switch 2 to be able to play in mouse mode?
You know it, sir. That's just exactly what I'm trying to do. No, dude. I don't care. It's
I'd be
fine.
kind of curious as far as if more people use the keyboard and mouse will use this method, or something I might try, just because I'm crazy like that. So
Yeah, you are.
kind of cool of note, at least. So also want to get into some release dates and announcements for the Jabroni Gaming News. So first title of mention, Pokemon Legends ZA. ZA. Its release date has been confirmed
ZA.
for Switch and Switch 2. It is coming out on October 16th. They're both the Switch version and the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game will release on the same date. And digital pre-orders for both versions of the game will start on June the 5th on the Nintendo eShop. Players that buy the Switch edition in either physical or digital form will have an option to upgrade to the Switch 2 edition of the game by buying an upgrade pack on there. I believe, unfortunately, you have to pay at least a little something out of the pocket to be able to upgrade your game from Switch to Switch 2 on there. So I know at least for like Fantasy Life I is like $3, I think is what it was. So we'll have to see how Nintendo handles upgrades moving forward for any Switch 1 games that are brought out. So, but obviously, if you want to play the Switch 2 version, guess what? Buy the Switch 2 version. So on there. But according to Nintendo, the Switch 2 version of Pokemon Legends ZA has an improved frame rate and higher resolution, sharper graphics, quote unquote. So I'll have to see. Are you looking forward to this game, Des? I know I am. I'm curious
Yes.
about it. So
I think it's going to be pretty fun. So I'm
yeah,
I'm excited to play it.
yeah, me too. All right, and then other release date news: Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake as a release date. It was recently a anniversary of Dragon Quest, so they had Dragon Quest like themed items from Square Enix, and they announced the release date. The release date is coming out on October 30th. It's coming out for PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC, and now Switch 2 is also on the list. Square Enix also confirmed that the Nintendo Switch 2 version will be a game key card, while it appears the Switch version will be included on the cartridge. So, unfortunately, the vast majority of third-party Switch 2 games are game key cards. There's only a few exceptions, including Cyberpunk 2077, the Western version of Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion. Also, I know Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma is going to be on the card as well. So, collector's edition of the same game has also been announced, which is available exclusively on the Square Enix store. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake will cost $150. $149.99 includes a physical copy of in the game and acrylic figures of in-game sprites and digital content. So I don't know what's up with all these acrylic figures that everyone wants to include in collector's
Because they're
editions,
easy.
and they're cheap. So
Mhm.
I don't get they don't look aesthetically pleasing to me. I don't know how they look to you, Des, but it's like
All
you
right.
might as well. They're okay, but do you have any affinity towards any sort of acrylic figures, Kev? Probably not, right?
I don't have any place to put them.
Yeah,
Even if I was, I have no place to put them.
yeah. I'm looking forward to Dragon Quest 1 and 2 by far, so I'll be there, but I'll be picking up for PS5 myself. So, last but not least, Microsoft has announced a new port of one of their Xbox Series games. Xbox's Hellblade 2 is going to be released on the PlayStation 5. That's Ninja Theory's version of the game. Basically, are bringing it out. They have Xbox Series and PS5 listed as formats for the physical edition that's being printed by Limited Run on there. As far as the PlayStation 5 version of Hellblade 2, it is coming to PS5 this summer, and it's also going to feature PS5 Pro enhancements because why not? If there's no Xbox Series XX, might as well release a better version of the it's available on Xbox Series consoles on the PlayStation 5 Pro on there. According to the press release, the PS5 Pro enhanced version adds features including haptic feedback on there, and obviously it's something to where if you want to get the best console experience, buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, I guess. So, all right. But any of you two excited? Kev, are you going to check out Hellblade 2 possibly? I know you played it on Series X, I think, right?
No, I have no desire to play Hellblade. Hellblade 2 is a complete and utter shell of the first game. There is hardly any combat from what I've seen. It's more like a graphic novel than an actual game.
Got
I
it.
no, I've watched I watched some I think was it Reforge Gaming. It might have been either Reforge Gaming or somebody else kind of go through it, and it's graphically pretty. A lot of QTEs, not a whole lot of gameplay, almost no combat from what I was able to ascertain. So, mm-mm. I'll if I play a Hellblade game, it'll be the first one, which I probably should play because I've heard it's very good.
Me too. Yeah, I haven't really
But
played
not
it. So,
two. I will be skipping.
any opinion, Des?
No, they're not. Those games don't appeal to me at all. So.
Got it. All right. And then I hate to end with such an unappealing topic, but that is the Jabroni gaming news for this episode. So,
Unappealed. Game night takes place every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, and 6 p.m. Pacific. Oh, we got all the times now.
And we sure do.
Yeah.
I don't want to
So
leave
that is the
anyone
date.
out.
Yeah, there's a date and time that we've selected to play games with our growing Discord community. So if there's a game that you'd like to play, either with us or one of our community members, feel free to post that game in our game night channel on Discord. So you might be asking, how do I join the Discord? Well, that's easy. You just head on over to Blue Sky and go to @GamingVessels, GamingVessels. Click the link in the bio, and you're automatically in. We don't have any merch to hawk to you, and we do not have a Patreon tier list for you to pay for. Just ask that you be a decent person, loves talking and debating video games, and I think you'll find a happy home aboard the good ship Gaming Vessel. This particular Thursday is the release of the Switch 2, so 2/3 of this show's hosts will be playing, I would assume, Mario Kart World. So if you, dear listener, will also be on the Switch 2 train that day, you are more than welcome to join at least 2/3 of this show's hosts in a Mario Kart World roundup this coming Thursday, June 5th. So that said, I want to thank you for hanging out, cooling out, chilling out, without a doubt, with us on episode 282 as we bring this to a close. So for Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover.
That's me, as always, in the place to be. You know it. Tee hee hee.
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy, and for Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. I'm Shonuff71, aka Digadoolamite.
Purple bling bling, y'all.
Y'all.
And we will not be recording next week, so we are going to be off for 1 week. Episode 283 will be in 2 weeks from now. So
Lots of stuff.
just wanted to let y'all know.
All the Keeley business.
All the Keeley business most of it will have taken place.
Xbox Showcase.
Then, right?
It's going to be a big one, y'all. So be prepared.
So we will have a lot. I'm sure we will have a lot to discuss and chop up on 283. So in the meantime, folks, keep it gaming. Peace.